Toto Wolff and Christian Horner's off-track war of words have always been a fan favourite attraction in Formula 1. Since 2021, the two rivals haven't had much of a chance to trade blows through the media, with Mercedes a long way off the pace. While the Silver Arrows may have found some form in recent races, they aren't in with any chance of catching Red Bull or Max Verstappen for a championship challenge this year. Following Lando Norris's dominant win in the Netherlands though, the McLaren team look like genuine challengers for both titles, and Toto has taken the opportunity to take some shots at Red Bull and Horner. Today, I'll check out what Toto Wolff has said about Red Bull's recent collapse and why Horner thinks Norris has no chance of winning the driver's title, so don't go anywhere. Lando Norris needed a perfect start to the second half of the season to prove that he could take the fight to Verstappen in the Drivers' Championship. Norris fought back to take a dominant victory in the Dutch Grand Prix, despite losing the lead to Max Verstappen's Red Bull at the start. Norris, for whom starts and first laps have been a weakness in recent races, was passed almost immediately when he had too much wheel spin off the line. It looked like the same old story for Lando, who has thrown away far too many points on the first lap this season, but such was the pace in his McLaren that he repassed Verstappen on lap 18 before the pit stops and romped away into the distance. Verstappen appeared to sense the way the race was going, even while he was still leading. The Dutchman, who has won every race in Zandvoort since it returned to the calendar in 2021, was complaining about a lack of grip from very early in the race. His defense of the lead when Norris caught him was half-hearted, especially in the context of his normally ultra-robust defensive tactics, and the McLaren swept into the lead down the inside at the first corner. Once in front, Norris pulled away at about half a second a lap, and there was nothing Verstappen could do to prevent losing his home race for the first time since his return after a 36-year absence. Norris was in total control once in front and crossed the line 22.8 seconds ahead of Verstappen for one of the most dominant wins of the season. He rubbed in his crushing form by setting the fastest lap on the final tour, taking it away from Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton by just 0.067 seconds. It was a point gained which may prove vital when the championship battle comes to its conclusion in Abu Dhabi. "Simply lovely," Norris said cheekily over the radio, copying the phrase Verstappen used so many times in victories during his dominance of the past 2 years. Of course, Lando's second win of the season is hardly enough to show that he can seriously catch Verstappen, who still leads by 70 points with 9 races remaining. A win at Monza would certainly help though, and McLaren have something special planned for the race according to CEO Zak Brown. "I think that's hard to tell," Brown responded to Sky F1 when asked if he was confident McLaren will have the quickest car at every circuit. "I think we clearly have a very fast car. We've got some more fun stuff coming for Monza because obviously it's a different type of track." Known as the Temple of Speed, Monza requires a very different setup to the Dutch Grand Prix's low-speed corners. What the fun stuff might be is a mystery, but expect plenty of razor-thin rear wings across the grid. Having watched Lando Norris annihilate the field at Zandvoort, Toto Wolff has no doubt that they can repeat it in Monza, despite the drastically different track. McLaren has proven in the past, since Austria last year, that they brought upgrades to the car that landed spot on, Wolff told the media after the Dutch Grand Prix. And that was just very impressive to see today. He's basically annihilated all of the competition, with the fastest lap at the end on a 42-lap-old hard, 20 seconds in gap. I think this championship, the Constructors' Championship, is wide open in my opinion, and it's good for Formula 1. Wolff would love nothing more than to see Red Bull's grasp on Formula 1 shattered. With his team's performance improving, he is reveling in the idea that his team can be the one to spoil Red Bull's Constructors' and Drivers' Championship hopes. The Drivers' Championship, I think Max to a certain degree has it under control still, but it will be exciting to see whether there is a change of powers, he added. And how much can we participate in that? Because we were able in the last few races, and I think if we would have had a car that was about normal, where we would have ended up, I don't think we would have beaten Norris, but we would have been in a little bit more exciting position. If Mercedes can start to take points off of Verstappen, then Wolff's team could have a massive impact on how the championship looks at the end of the season. Every place they can take off Verstappen is points lost in his fight against Norris, and those points will be celebrated just as much in the Mercedes garage as they are in the McLaren garage. Wolff would love to see his customer team take the championship off Red Bull. Norris was helped in Zandvoort by a big upgrade, McLaren's first since the Miami Grand Prix, where he secured his first win of the season. Lando said that the team had been patient with their upgrade, as they thought it was more important to ensure it would work how they wanted and give as much performance as possible, rather than rushing it and it potentially not working as intended. The upgrade was mainly flow conditioning around the front and rear suspension, brakes and the front floor edge, but it was clearly a success. As was the new high downforce front and rear wing, which will be of great use later in the season, with a number of street circuits still to come. Lando Norris said after winning the Dutch Grand Prix that it was pretty stupid to think about winning the World Championship, but his dominant victory on championship leader Max Verstappen's home track certainly has Red Bull worried. Red Bull Motorsport advisor Helmut Marko said after the race that Norris's victory was alarming and made it clear that he was speaking not only about the Constructors' Championship, in which it was already very clear that Red Bull were in trouble, but also the Drivers' Championship. And Verstappen himself, who has now not won since the Spanish Grand Prix in June 5 races ago, did not disagree. "This weekend was just a bad weekend in general," Verstappen said, "so we need to understand that. But the last few races already, they haven't really been fantastic. So that, I think in a sense, was already a bit alarming." But while the gap is closing and McLaren are on the attack, Lando could be left ruining missed points earlier in the season. Before last weekend's race, Lando said he has not performed at the level of a world champion so far this season. "I'm still very happy with how the season's gone, but just one too many mistakes and a few too many points given away, which is not the level I need to be at if I want to fight for a championship and fight against a driver like Max." It's a sentiment that Red Bull boss Christian Horner agrees with. He says it is remarkable that Lando Norris has only won 2 races during the 2024 Formula 1 season in McLaren's benchmark car. With Norris's performance, with McLaren's latest upgrades having sparked talk of a title battle over the remaining 9 races, Horner said his squad were fortunate the British driver had let slip earlier opportunities to make ground on Verstappen. "We're lucky that they've underperformed in the early part of the year, so we've got a 70-point buffer, but that can diminish pretty quickly," Horner said on Sunday in Zandvoort. "It's remarkable that that's only Lando's second win in that car, but he's driving well, he's finding confidence, and the pressure is on us to respond." The mind games in an F1 battle are nothing new to Horner. Just like Wolff, he's experienced in using the media to put pressure on other teams' drivers. Little comments, like pointing out the number of points that Lando has missed out on, might just put that little seed of doubt in his opponent's mind, which could make the difference. However, McLaren have now put their full support behind Lando. For a long time, they've refused to favour one driver over the other, proving that in Hungary, where Oscar Piastri was given the win thanks to team orders, due to him leading at the first pit stops. Now though, McLaren F1 boss Andrea Stella has revealed they will look to favour Lando Norris over Oscar Piastri when it's a 50-50 decision. While he said McLaren would never have a number 1 driver, he did say that considering Lando has been the faster driver in recent races and the state of the championship, McLaren would help him in situations where a decision has to be made over which driver to favour. An example could be who to give the more favourable pit stop timing to. It is the first clear statement from McLaren that they will back Lando in the championship battle, and it might just be the boost he needs to ignore Horner's comments and take the fight to Red Bull. What do you think of Wolff's comments about Red Bull? Should Verstappen be worried about Norris, or are those early season mistakes going to cost him? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.